So Tillian is out of Dance Gavin Dance. Again, who could have seen this coming? Maybe some people, maybe not a lot of people, but in the grand scheme of things, I wanted to dive into this because I did not talk about the Tillian allegations back when they happened. I kind of just vibed and I was like, if it is true, it's true. If it's not, it's not. It's allegations until it's proven to be correct. But let's roll the clock back a little bit because this is not the first time that Tillian has been out of Dance Gavin Dance, metaphorically and quite literally exiled from the band. He had a string of allegations that came about, 3 in particular about sexual harassment and assault on 3 separate women, and he basically came out and said yes, these encounters happened, but he denied them being non-consensual. And there was nothing that was particularly ascertained from that of if it was true, if it was not, and nothing really came of it thereafter. In the grand scheme of things, it kind of just simmered out as the band decided to part ways with Tillian, but it was not really framed that way. Tillian stepped away from the band for an undisclosed period of time for rehabilitation. And after a little bit of wondering what was going to happen next with Dance Gavin Dance, because God, they have been so keen and so centered around their lineup changes, from tumultuous lineup changes as well as vocalist changing, tragic losses within the band, it wasn't really too unfamiliar to Dance Gavin Dance fans to have some sort of fuckery that sort of took over the band. And then Tillian came back, and everything in the world seemed quote-unquote right. Nothing was really talked about with the allegations. Tillian just said that he was in a better place. The band seemed to be high and mighty on his side, and in the grand scheme of things, no other further statements were made about it, and music was produced thereafter. Until now. Now, I want to preface by saying that I do not want to presume to know the inner workings of Dance fucking Gavin Dance, and I don't think that in the interpersonal sort of parasocial relationship way, I do not personally think it is a necessary thing, and I don't advocate for people making assumptions about these people. They are real human beings. We don't know the full story, and we can only make our own educated guesses, so use your own judgment. But Tillian is gone from the band, and this time it's not just for rehabilitation, it's not just a temporary hiatus. This is being labeled as a permanent departure from the band, and this time it is being hailed as this is for creative differences. People change over time, and the major statement that was made from the band is that after a long line of great material from Tillian and all of his contributions, that they just aren't seeing eye to eye anymore, and that they have creative differences, and so they're splitting off. Tillian has been working on new material for his own self-titled project, as well as he wants to tour with that, and he made a separate statement as well saying that he was very grateful for, I believe, the 12 years that he's been a part of Dance Gavin Dance and how talented everyone is. Nothing has been said in any sort of negative veneer, and of course I don't really expect there to be anything of a negative veneer, and I also don't want to assume that that means that nothing bad was going on behind the scenes, because I mean this in the nicest way. I don't fully buy the creative difference thing, because much of Dance Gavin Dance's style in recent memory in the Tillian era has been directly manufactured in many ways with Tillian's influence, and if you listen to some of Tillian's solo material, stuff he's done in the past outside of Dance Gavin Dance and stuff, I don't think that the way that he writes music is so astronomically different than Dance Gavin Dance that it was unrecognizable, nor do I think Dance Gavin Dance are not keen to be experimental or avant-garde. That's kind of their whole fucking thing, is that they're funky, they're weird, they're out there, they're experimental. So for Tillian to step away, or literally for the band to part ways with him for creative differences, I don't entirely buy that that's the reason. And like I said, I don't want to presume, I'm just making my own educated guesses that I do think that more happened behind the scenes in terms of the allegations or the backlash or something that happened thereafter. Because in the grand scheme of things, they're not going to come out and publicize everything, and I fully think that's valid. I don't think you should publicize everything for your fan base. That may be a hot take, but I think people are 100% entitled to their privacy, to their private lives, unless you are obviously putting people in danger. Now, it's obviously going to pique people's curiosity and make their theories go wild in the conspiracies, but I do encourage people to do their own research and try to look into it. But unfortunately, we are not given much information about why this would happen, and unlike sort of like a Jordan Fish leaving Bring Me the Horizon Pearson or a Ben Bruce leaving Asking Alexandria, there seem to be some really, logical reasons that they are parting ways. We are given a reason without going too in depth with it. Ben Bruce wanted to spend more time with his family and so on and so forth. But when this is someone that not only is extremely crucial to the lifeblood of Dance Gavin Dance for well over a decade now and produced some of their most iconic records, but also someone that has already been out of the band once for allegations, it's just weird that we are left with this very vague approximation of an explanation. And like I said, I don't think we're entitled to more. I just obviously would have liked to hear a little bit more without giving too much of their personal lives away. There's obviously the big possibility that it's not that deep and that in the grand scheme of things, it just is what it is, and he really did have creative differences and want to go out on his own. But I just fail to see the timeline where it makes sense that he was out of the band for his own personal allegations in rehabilitation, then came back into the band, produced a little bit of music, and then somewhere in that small little gap decided, I don't actually want this. Maybe tensions were high, maybe it was awkward. That's personally what I think it might be. I think it may literally just be the inner workings of the band not working the way that they used to, because it's maybe a little bit more awkward, a little bit more difficult to have that sort of relationship with each other that you once did because of the position this person was put into. And maybe it's one of those things where you just can't come back from a specific downward spiral in your life and in your career. And I wish him nothing but the best, but I want to hear what you guys think of this and your opinions on this whole Tilian Pearson situation and Dance Gavin Dance, all of that jazz. You can let me know down in the comment section below, and feel free to let your theories run wild if that is the type of person you are. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.